All right. So we're going to start sitting. You can sit kind of kneeling like this or like crisscross or up on a lift, whatever is kind of comfortable for you. And then we're going to stretch the arms out wide and start with a little bit of rotations through the upper arm bones. So the right shoulder, you want to spin down and roll it in. And you'll notice how your eye of the elbow and the palm kind of turn back towards the wall behind you. And then bring it back to neutral. And then we're going to switch to the other side. Left side, you'll roll it in. And you'll feel it like from the top of the arm bone initiate, and the whole arm bone will follow down to the hand. And then bring it back to center. And then with the right, we're going to go external. So we're going to rotate that front of the shoulder head back. And you'll notice the eye of the elbow and the palm maybe turn more towards the ceiling. And then bring it back forward. And we'll switch to the other side. From the top of the arm bone, rotate back. And notice the whole movement through the whole arm. And bring it back to center. So first we did internal rotation both sides, and then we did external rotation both sides. So now we're going to do opposite. So the right arm is going to rotate in, and the left arm is going to rotate out. So rotate in, rotate out simultaneously, and then bring it back to face forward and switch. Rotate and switch. Keep on going back and forth. So tonight in class, we're going to do a little bit, well, we always kind of do those side planks because I love them, but we're going to do them more. So it's really important when you do those side planks and you're putting that weight on that one arm, that you're rotating the arm out to set yourself up. That's where you're going to get the most strength in the posture. And we're also going to do some binds. So when you bind, you rotate in to create the bind. And then once you get into the bind, best you can, you start to try and rotate towards out. Okay, one more time each way. Maybe you're getting a little tired. That's okay. And then last time, and bring it back to center. Both arms reach up, nice and high. Stretch up, and weave the arms behind your back. Interlocked hands, or just holding onto hips. Squeeze the upper arm bones in towards each other and work your arms towards straight if you have the clasp. If you don't have the clasp, you're just hugging in, upper arm bones squeeze in. And then you can give yourself a little moment of a break, and we'll switch to the other thumb in front and squeeze the upper arm bones in towards each other, or if you're holding hips, squeezing in, squeezing in, squeezing in. All right, and then release and inhale, stretch your arms up, nice and high, lift up. And the right arm is going to go down towards the ground. The left arm is going to stretch overhead and start to side bend. So try and move those left side ribs out towards the side and really open and expand through that side of the body. You can almost push your right hand down and away from you to get more into that side bend. And then bring it back to center and switch. Place the left hand down, stretch over towards that left side. And again, you're trying to feel that push energy of the palm down and away from you to get more into that opening through the opposite side of the body. Big opening through that waistline. And then bring it back to center. All right, let's come forward onto hands and knees, you guys. So hands and knees, we're going to make our way into table pose. And set yourself up so your shoulders are over your wrists, hips over your knees, and you can always kind of move around a bit depending on how it feels. Go ahead and stretch the chest forward, reach your heart forward, lengthen, coming into like a cow pose. Now as you exhale, tuck the toes under and reach your hips back, coming towards like a child's pose, letting your head kind of press down. Find that same sense of pressing the hands down and pushing away as you reach your hips back. And then come back forward into your tabletop position, but kind of almost shift the weight forward now as you come into cow pose. Get a little stretch for the wrists and maybe your forearms, so you don't have to go far forward. And you don't have to go forward at all, but you can kind of test your boundaries. And then hinge back, coming into your child's pose. Toes are tucked, feet stay, hips width distance. Inhale, glide forward, and maybe you get a little stretch through your wrists. Reach the chest forward. Exhale, push back. into your child's pose. Toes tucked. Maybe you feel a little stretch across the soles of your feet. Inhale, glide forward, heart forward, mid and upper back lengthen. And then exhale, this time instead of child's pose, lift the knees off the floor and come into a modified downward dog pose. Modified because the feet are a little bit shorter distance than they normally would be, closer to your hands, because you're from that all four setup. Take a push of the floor away, not only to your hands, but also your feet, and pike your hips up really high. And then move your heels over towards the left side, lifting your hips up high and maybe even straightening your legs if there was a little bend. Push down into your hands, lift your hips up, and then move your right hand slightly forward and rise onto fingertips and try and move and lift, stretching in towards that right side waist. So your right hand can kind of reposition anywhere, maybe further towards the left, maybe further to the front edge of your mat, and kind of tense your fingers so palms are up and push the ground away. And then place your hand back to where it was and slip back into your modified downward dog stance, keeping your hips lifted up high. Swivel the heels over towards the left side and maybe work the legs towards straight as you continue to push the ground away, lift your hips. Now move your left hand over towards the right and slightly forward towards the top edge of your mat. And you'll try and feel the left hip pull back as the left waistline lengthens, lifting up towards the ceiling as you open through the left side waist. A lot of strength in your right arm and shoulder. Okay, place the hand back aside along the left or the right and swivel back to center, still in the modified distance. And then you're going to come down towards a hover position, letting your knees just rest above the floor. Now we're in our hovering table position, but if you want your knees on the ground, feel free to just lower your knees whenever you feel ready. Push the floor away and then even lift your head up a little bit. See if that gives you more ease in your upper back and also your neck. Now in your modified or in your hovering table pose, make sure the tailbone is lengthening and the low back is long. Now from here, with the left knee off of the floor, we're going to slide the right knee up towards the right arm bone at any height along the arm, maybe high towards the tricep or lower towards the elbow or down against the forearm. So pull forward, squeeze, tap, and lower. Right knee over towards the left arm with a nice long neutral spine. Turn towards the left arm bone. Cross, and then lower back to center. Keep the knees lifted and take the left knee over outside the left arm at any height. Squeeze in and then lower. Tap the toes down. Knees are lifted, hips are level, and then take the left knee over towards the right arm. Squeeze in and bring it back to center. Drop the knees down towards the ground. Walk the hands a bit further forward. And we're going to slide forward into kind of like a relaxed upward dog. So there shouldn't be any pinching in your low back at all. Push down into your hands, press to the tops of your feet and kind of ease your way forward. You can always keep your hips a little bit higher if you start to feel like it triggers anything in your low back, or come to cobra instead if you prefer. As you slide forward, it's kind of like hanging out like we do in Sphinx pose. You don't want to feel like you're overworking. 2 more rounds of breath. Draw the arm bones back, reach the chest forward. 1 more deep breath in. And then as you exhale, hinge back, this time tucking the toes under and lift into your downward dog. Now you should be in a more traditional stance. Lift your hips high. With the knees slightly bent, pike and lift your hips higher, creating a nice long spine. Now, hold the strength of your arms, tip the heels over towards the left side of your mat, push the ground away, lift your hips up high, and then slide your right hand again forward, trying to open up and breathe space into the right side of the waist. If reaching your hand forward doesn't feel like the right option, feel free to keep your hand down where it was just for your downward dog. Lift up, hips up, 1 more deep breath in, and then lower your hand down and come to center. Let's do the switch over towards the right side. Hips should stay lifted. Press down into your hands to maintain the height, and then remove the left hand forward of your right hand so that you're lifting or opening up through the left side waist. So you're tenting your palm off the floor, fingertips only. One more deep breath in. And then slide back to center. Lower your hand down. Okay, take an inhale. Come forward. It's a plank pose. Top of a push-up position. Hold plank position. And pause with your spine nice and long. Strong arms and strong legs. Keep that sense of plank through your torso, and then we're going to move that left foot forward to hovering table. So left foot comes forward to hovering table. Just get that knee underneath the hip, but don't let it touch the floor unless you prefer to have that set up. Now, with the knee off the floor, hips are about shoulder level, belly nice and strong. I'm going to float the right leg off the floor. Lift it up. Pause. Strong arms, strong legs. Squeeze the midline. 2 more rounds. Exhale slowly. Take one more deep breath in and out. Lower the foot, left foot back to meet the right foot, both knees down or up as you go down towards the ground. Move your fingertips wide to the side edges of your mat. Curl up into a little cobra pose. You don't have to lift high, shouldn't lift up too high. And then keep the weight of the pelvis and the area of the tailbone reaching towards the ground. Make sure the feet feel heavy, resting against the floor. And then from here, lift and twist towards the right, coming up as high as is comfortable for your body. Then slide down through center and switch to the other side. Lift and twist to the left. Slide down through center and lower your hands by your rib cage. Curl up into a little bit more of a cobra, more support of the hands. And then option here to lift into upward dog or stay in cobra. By lifting into upward dog, hands and feet push to the floor, and then you energize, straighten the arms, and shine your chest forward. Exhale wherever you are. Start the transition back to downward dog. Hold the lift up high in your downward dog. Then shift back forward into plank pose, top of a push-up position. Guide the right knee underneath the right hip, keeping the toes tucked. You're set up in hovering table on the right side. Push down through both arms and your right foot and float the left leg off the floor. Know that you can always drop the right knee down on the floor if you need that extra support, or come out and then come back in. One more deep breath in. And out. Lower the left foot and then reach the right foot back to match. Everyone back down to the ground, coming into the front of the body. Curl up into your small cobra, stretch your heart forward. Feel the back support you. Slide the hands out wide, fingertips only, palms off the floor. Start with the left, lift and twist towards the left side. Slide through center and then switch to the right side. Slide down to center, place the hands by the wrist. Stay here, maybe push a little bit and curl up higher, or press and come up, upward dog. Open through the front of the body. All the way back to downward dog. Hips up high. So take a moment in downward dog. Adjust your feet, feel comfortable in your posture. Bend your knees a little bit, even if you're not used to doing that. And then really lift your hips up high. Think about the rotation that we created when we were starting in that seated position, and try and feel that opening or that external rotation through your outer upper arm bones. Here it's a little bit different with the arms overhead, and you don't want to do too much, but just try to find a gentle kind of wrap of the upper arm bones towards one another. Should result in a feeling of a little bit more space around your shoulders and head. 2 more rounds of breath. Hips high. One more deep breath in. Hips stay high. Turn the heels over towards the left side. Push the floor away. As you continue to lift your hips up high, you're going to slide slightly forward. And here you want to be sure that your wrists feel safe as you start to peel the right hand off of the floor. Push down and lift up. So if you need to reposition your hands, or you don't feel like you have the right angle, you can always move your feet further down towards the edge of the mat. Kind of wiggle away to get a better angle. Press the floor away, take a deep breath in. Now, see if you can manage to press the sole of the right foot all the way down into the ground, so it's really firmly pressed against the floor. And then see if you can lift or bend your left knee and kind of bend it and see if it feels like appropriate to lift the knee up towards the ceiling and foot off of the floor. Okay, take another deep breath in, and then stretch the right leg out, pull it in, and lower back behind the, sorry, I said right, but I meant left. Back behind the right. Come back to center, up high into your downward dog, hips up, take a deep breath in, and step the right foot forward between your hands. Come into low lunge. Inhale, reach your arms up and lift up. Exhale, interlock the hands behind the head and curl up into your little back bend like cobra or that upward dog sensation. As you lengthen, lift your chest up, drop the tailbone down and make sure there's lots of space in the low back. Deep breath in and out. Then with the exhale, we're gonna cross left shoulder towards the right knee. Exhale and center. Exhale and center. So you don't have to go down super low, and especially if you feel like it's pulling on your back, definitely just keep it within a range that feels good. We're just gonna do one more time. Exhale, rotate. Inhale, center, and then stretch the arms forward, reach forward. Inhale, arms up and reach back. Inhale, arms up and reach back. One more time. Inhale, arms up and reach back. Interlock the hands behind your back or hold your hips like we did at the beginning. Lift your chest. Take an inhale and exhale. Hinge the belly forward over the front thigh. Pick up the back knee. Pause. Back leg straight and strong. Feel the belly hover above the thigh and stretch the crown of your head forward. Now keep the hands behind you, whether they're interlocked or hands resting on your hips. And then spin and turn the left heel down to the floor. Bring your right or your fist over towards the right outer hip. And feel that hip and kind of push against it to draw the energy towards the midline, towards the center line of the mat. And then start to twist open towards the side. And if your hands are on your hips or hands clasped, you're gonna take that fist over towards the right hip if it's not already there, or take the left hand towards the right hip if it's not there, and then stretch the right arm out and reach it out nice and long. Good. So the hand that remains, if it can rest on the hip or maybe a little bit higher, you want to use that hand to encourage the crease of the right hip, not only to drop down, but to tuck under or tuck towards the midline as you reach the right arm out. 2 more rounds of breath. Breathe in and out. Final deep breath in. Then as you exhale, lower the right hand down to the ground. Pivot and turn the left heel off of the floor. Slide the left knee back to the ground and then wiggle, walk your right hand forward, right foot forward. Dig the heel into the ground and then place the hands together. Dig the heel down, pull the toes back, and then hinge and stretch your chest forward, coming into a forward fold over your right leg while opening and lengthening in the back side of that leg. Keep pulling the toes back while digging the heel down and feel the whole energy of the foot draw towards its hip as you stretch your heart forward. 2 more rounds of breath. And from here, place the right foot back down to the floor. So come out of the hinge, lower the foot, place the left hand down. Here we're setting up for another side plank. So it's the same side we were just on, but we're gonna do it again. But you can keep the left knee down for added support. If not, tuck the toes, lift the left knee up. Wherever you are, turn the right toes. If the left leg is lifted, then the left toes as well to the side and lift up side plank. Find that external rotation through the outer upper arm bone. Draw both shoulders back as you lift your hips up high. Always know that you can make any adjustments as you tune into your body, noticing how it works for you to be here. 1 more deep breath in. And out. Gazing down, unwind. Place your hands to the floor. Step the right foot back. Now you're in your plank setup. Take it at your own pace. You can take a vinyasa or go to downward dog. Lowering halfway down or all the way. Curling forward, cobra or upward dog. And then breathe yourself back into downward dog from there. Lift your hips up high. Cross the floor away. Okay, from here, hiking the hips up, feeling all that length. We're going to spin the heels over towards the right side. You're going to shift slightly forward, keeping the shoulder line behind the wrist. Push down into your right hand. Lift and free your left hand. See what it feels like. And then maybe lift up all the way and lengthen up. Modifying side plank is easy. You just place that bottom knee down to the ground to give yourself the support that you need. Now, from here, with the left foot heavy to the floor, you're going to bend the right knee, and then you start to lose some of that strength in that leg and transition over to the left side. From here, you can slide the knee forward, squeezing the leg in and up towards the ceiling. From here, you can maybe straighten the leg out and tap the foot to the floor. Then bring the knee back in, slide it behind the left foot, lift up, and then lower it down. Lift the hips up high, downward dog, and step the right foot forward or the left foot forward between the hands. Drop down onto your right knee. Inhale, both arms reach up. With an interlock, maybe the other thumb in front, behind your head. Lift your chest and lean back. Whenever you lean back and you go into that back bend feeling, make sure that you're not jamming or feeling sensation only in one part of the spine. Lengthen and lean back, or just stay in a more lengthened position. One more deep breath in. As you exhale, turn towards the left, kind of hook and lift up. Right shoulder towards the left knee. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 2 more times. Twist. Center. Last one. Twist. And find your center position. Release your arms. Interlock. But let's take the arms in big circles. Up, back, and around. Up, back, and around. Final one, you're going to hold the arms back and maybe interlock, other thumb again, or hands on your hips. Squeeze everything in. Open across your chest. Hinge forward. Lift the back knee off of the floor. Firm through that back leg. Pivot and lower your right heel down. And then slide your hands, one or both, over to the left hip to encourage the outer crease of the left hip to drop down and also squeeze the midline. Now you can keep your right hand behind you and then stretch your left arm forward as you turn off towards the side. So that right hand that's left behind, if it can touch your hip, great. If not, you can just keep your attention on that outer left hip, drawing down and hugging it. Keep stretching, lengthening over that left side. You might get lower, you might go higher. 2 more rounds of breath. Side angle with the hover. 1 more deep breath in. And out. Bring your left hand down towards the ground. Pivot and lift your right heel off of the floor, lowering the knee down. You're going to wiggle or walk your left foot forward, lift yourself up, and find that straight leg here. Hands together at this point. Dig the heel down, pull the toes back, energize the front of the leg, stretch and open the back of the leg, and we'll hinge the torso forward, coming down towards a fold. Take a few rounds of breath. Notice what's going on in the back of the neck. So if you're kind of looking way far forward, you might notice your neck wrinkle, the back of the neck wrinkle. You might notice a lot of work there. Try and lengthen it out. 2 more. Dig the heel down, pull the heel back. 1 more deep breath in. And out. Okay, you're going to hinge, lift up slightly. We place the left foot back to the floor. Now the right hand's going to set up for side plank. So angle the hand appropriately. Have the proper turnout of the hand to support the turnout of the arm bone. Pick the back knee off of the floor and turn both sets of toes to the left unless the right knee remains to the ground. Option, take the top arm up towards the ceiling. Lift up, reach up, head back, throat open. 2 more. Take another cycle of breath, and then pivot yourself and unwind. Come back to plank, top of a push-up. Move yourself through vinyasa or go into downward dog. From downward dog, whenever you get there, take your time. Just gonna walk the hands back towards the feet and heel toe your feet pretty wide apart. It's gonna go off your mat. The feet are gonna go off the mat. And you're now in a wide-legged forward fold. Move your hands so they're resting underneath your shoulders, and you might be on fingertips or higher up on blocks, or maybe you're using a piece of furniture to help you. Lengthen out the torso and watch out for those hips to lean back past the ankle line. Shift the hips in between the ankles, and then you can apply a small bend into your knees. With the length of your spine remaining, you're gonna take yourself down towards the ground in a wide-legged forward fold. Your head may or may not touch the floor. You want your hands to support or encourage a lift of the shoulders away from the ears, so you're not sinking and sagging the upper back down, but you feel more space for the neck and engagement in your upper body. 2 more rounds of breath. As you finish your next exhale, you can walk your hands back forward. Bring your hands to your hips and rise up with a flat back. Push down and lift yourself up. Now your feet will remain off of your mat unless you want to reposition yourself, which is totally fine. You're going to turn the heels in for that horse stance or like a wide turned out position. When you look down at your toes, they should be pointing to 10 and 2 o'clock or 11 and 1 o'clock. That's generally where they're going to be. If there's a different position that you're going to find more comfortable for your needs, you can always modify. Once you get down, notice, are your knees resting over your ankles or are your ankles way behind your knees? Try and get more comfortable with the stack of your joints. Now sink your hips down and take a pause. You might want to reach your arms up, and here you're definitely going to be a little bit hinged. You're not going to be all the way back or upright, most likely. You might, but it's not as common. You're going to hinge to keep your spine long and get nice and low in your pelvis. Push into your feet, feel the strength of your legs, and then sink your hips down. With the arms overhead, unless it's a little too much for your shoulders, you can always have your hands to your heart instead. We're going to stretch over towards the right side and center, over towards the left side and center, and continue to move in the side to side motion, and just notice that your hips are not lifting up and down. Best you can, keep your lower body nice and still and move and lengthen your upper body. If you're getting a little bit too much into your low back, then hinge forward a little bit more and keep it into the side of your body, waistline. Okay, we're gonna do one more time each way. So one more time to the right, and then one more time to the left. Bring it back to center, push up to straight legs, turn the toes forward. If you're still in the position you started in around your mat, then you can just adjust your feet back in and walk yourself back out into your downward dog. Hips up nice and high. So again, rotate the arm bones in that external rotation, feeling the space around the shoulders and your neck. Shift your heels over towards the left side. Now you can always stay like this or drop a knee down if you know you need that support. From here, we're going to float the right arm up, coming into your side plank. If it's too much on your wrist, repetitively, you can drop down into that forearm plank too. Okay, from here, see if you can glide the left knee out from under. Hug the knee up towards the ceiling. Lower the knee towards the floor. Squeeze the knee towards the arm bone, and then step the foot back. One more variation here. This is when your left knee can be down on the floor. If you'd like, you can take the right foot up and then tuck the knee in towards your chest. And see if you can just step the foot alongside the left hand. So you're going to pivot and step. Pivot so the left heel's off of the floor. Lift off of your palms so you're on your fingertips. Keep the right knee bent and hug the hips in towards each other as we start to twist towards the right side. Reach that top arm up. Use length to create the depth in the pose. So really try and stretch and reach the crown of your head forward so you feel super long through your spine. Then with that length, try and create rotation. From strengthen your abdominals, turn yourself towards the side. Take a couple more rounds of breath in your lunge twist. Keep the knee bent, spine long. One more inhale. And exhale. Slide your right hand back, but then reach it forward, letting your chest face down. Then both hands together, rise up. High lunge, reach up. Interlock hands behind your head. Drop the tailbone and bend your back knee. Drop the tailbone and keep the back knee bent. Lift the front body and lean the head back. The throat opens and maybe you come into a little back bend. Shoulders easy. Front body long. Bend your right knee. Another deep breath in. And out. Keep the hands behind your head. Hinge so the torso comes forward over the leg, like hover the lunge. Keep the hands behind the head. Press the head back into your hands. Take a small bend into your back knee. Push yourself away. All the way on up for warrior three. Little push and then angle out yourself. Find what's easy and then move to what feels like the appropriate challenge. Hinge, hinge, hold, lengthen, head up, throat open. So here with the hands behind your head, you're going to be working a lot harder than normal, most likely, because we always droop and drop the head down. So now we can really feel where our head is in space. So we know we're trying to keep it lifted, ears and shoulders aligned, hinge, chest down, leg up, legs strong, back strong. Keep the belly turned on. Everything's engaged. 2 more rounds of breath. Unless you need to come back to the lunge, that's fine. 1 more deep breath in. And then slowly bend that front knee. Lower the back foot. Bring your hands to your heart. Straighten the right leg. Keep the hinge and fold over the front leg. Couple more rounds of breath. Slide the right hip crease back. Hug both hips in and lengthen and lower. Okay, hands are together at your heart. Legs are long, torso's long. Keep the length through the torso. Now rebend into your right knee. Squeeze those hips in and the thighs in. Start to turn, look towards the right. Use the edge of, or the outside of the arm against the outside of the leg and hook to turn a little bit deeper. Now, using your arm against the leg isn't required. You can kind of hold in space or take the hand down to the floor, taking that other variation of twist that we've already done. Inhale. Exhale. Keep the bend through the front knee. Bend more. Lowering the hips. Last cycle. And then unwind. Plant your hands down to the ground. Step back to your plank setup. Hold plank. Take a flow or go into downward dog right away. Maintain the lift of your hips in your downward facing dog. And from here, we're going to slide heels over towards the right side. Press down through the sole of the left foot. All right, heels over towards the left side. Press down into the sole of the right foot. Oh gosh, now I'm getting confused. Make sure you're doing the other side. This one's, I think, heels over towards the right side. Left foot down. Then raise your left arm up. Press the floor away. Okay, keep holding steady here. And maybe slide the right knee back forward. Hug it in. Lift that knee, and then see if you can lower the knee down to the ground. Squeeze it towards the arm bone. Squeeze in, and place the foot back behind the left foot. Now here, you'll lift the left foot up, slide the left knee into the chest, and you're going to see how you can step that foot forward to the other side of the mat. So alongside the hand. You're going to pivot, the back heel, squeeze in, and step. Now we're ready for our twist. Fingertips on the floor or on a block. Deep bend into your front knee. Turn and reach back up. Twist towards the side. So feel the length and find the rotation. It's very hard to feel the length if you feel like you're being pulled to the ground. So another way to create more length if you don't happen to have a prop handy is to lower the right knee to the floor. Lengthen and rotate. One more cycle of breath. Then you'll sweep the left arm back, around, and point the fingertips down. Your chest will also point down. If the knee's on the floor, lift it off the floor. Both arms together carry you up. Inhale. Hands clasped behind the head, interlocked hands. Back knee will bend so that you have more control in your pelvis. Drop the tailbone, low back long. Lift the heart up and then start to lean back into your hands. With your hands pressing against your head, there's kind of this little push and pull between them. Then you really feel more access to the strength in your front and back body to go slowly into the extension. Keep your head back, throat open, belly strong. Now, hand and head pressing together as you start to come out of it and hinge forward. Now you'll start to feel your head really need to activate against your hands. Now, straighten that back leg as you hinge over the left leg. Bend the knee and kind of push the floor away, sending yourself into balance on that left side. Head and hands against one another, and then start to tip into your warrior three. And then gaze wherever helps hold you steady. Play around with gaze. Sometimes I notice I'm like kind of looking maybe higher up. And when I shift my gaze maybe a little bit further down, I notice like parts of my face relax more. So there's minor adjustments you can make that might make it feel more enjoyable or less strain or tension unnecessary. 2 more rounds of breath. Head up, throat open. Last deep breath in. As you exhale, bend into your front knee, lower the back toes, and start to straighten out the leg. Hands can come to your heart as you hinge forward. So the left leg will straighten to the degree that feels good on your knee, and then hinge at your hip line, not rounding into your back. Hinge and keep the spine long, and then inch your way down a little bit lower to come down with a nice flat back. Give yourself another round of breath before we go into the twist. Remember the options for the twist. You can always try one thing and kind of move to a different thing. So you're going to bend into your front knee, start to turn towards the left. While you turn to the left, keep your hips squeezing in for more stability. And then see if you can have an easy cross of the arm over the leg and kind of push away from the leg. Or take the hand down, reach the arm up, even take the knee down and with the arm up. Take your own variation, making sure that you're really getting what you need out of each posture. All right, we're going to take another round of breath. And then carefully unwind. Replace the hands down, step back, vinyasa or downward dog. Now in downward dog this time, raise the right leg up, stretch it back, bend the knee, stack the pelvis open. Try and resist the opening of the pelvis by keeping the left hip crease pulling back and the outer hip hugging in. Lift and lengthen. Both arms straight and strong, with a little lift of the left shoulder away from the floor. And then we'll bring it back to center with the foot lifted, so still in 3-legged dog. Pull forward towards your plank, tuck the knee in, take the knee outside the right arm bone, over to the left, to the right, to the left, last one to the right, last one to the left, and hold. So pivot and lower the left heel to the floor. Push down and keep your hips lifted. See if you can slide the right leg out towards the side and lower to the edge of the foot on the floor. Keep your left hand down or lift your left arm up. Lift up. So split leg, side plank. One more deep breath in and out. Lower your hand down and then kind of bend your knees to easily lower your hips down and turn to face in between your legs. Inhale, stretch your arms up, dig your heels down, bend your knees, and slowly hinge forward between the space of your legs, reaching and lengthening. Then rise all the way back up and place your hands behind you. Bend your knees so your feet are planted against the floor, about hips width distance. We're coming into reverse table. So fingertips point towards your hips, or at least the thumbs point towards your hips. Push down and lift your pelvis up. Press the floor away. Okay, hold the hips up nice and high. Press down into your feet, lift your pelvis up. See if you can kind of lean carefully to your left side and raise the right arm up. Lift up. Then lower and switch. Push, lift. And lower, hips down. Turn the knees to the right, place the hands on the mat, and step back to downward dog. Okay, raise the left leg up. Reach the left leg back. Bend the knee, step open through the pelvis. Reach the foot back, hug the hip in, and kind of feel that resistance. As the left foot moves towards the right hip hugs towards the midline, both arms straight and strong. And then slowly swivel the left knee to face down to the floor. You're still in your three-legged plank position. Rock forward towards your plank. Hug the knee in. Tap the knee over towards the left side. Bring it over towards the right side for a pause. Swivel and lower the right foot down and then start to sweep that left leg out towards the left, digging the heel into the floor. You can stay just like this or raise the arm up. Lift up. Now, if the arm is up, maybe you can start to lower the pelvis down with control. You might need to bend your knees to do that. Wherever you are, find yourself in your wide-legged seated position. Arms up. With a little bend in your knees, hinge forward. Stretch and lengthen in between your legs. Reach out. And then rise all the way on up. Place the hands behind you. Place the feet in the position for reverse table. So fingertips point back. This time, push the floor away, lift up. Hold the height of the hips. And then lower your pelvis down. Turn the knees to the left. Sweep the right hand around to match the left hand. And bring yourself onto hands and knees. Okay, take a little cat and cow. Round your back into cat. Stretch into cow. Couple more times. Round into cat. Stretch into cow. Two more. Okay, last cycle. And bring it back to center. Find your neutral spine or your flat back position. Press down into your hands. Tuck the toes under. Lift the knees to feel that hover. Lifting the floor, pushing the ground away. Push down. Hug the belly in. 2 more rounds of breath. Last inhale. And exhale. Lower your knees down towards the ground. And we'll sink back on to rest on the heels. Take a pause here. Just close your eyes for a moment. Take a few slow rounds of breath. here's our next thing. So from here, I was gonna suggest staying down low. If you don't feel, you can just check it out. If you don't feel like it's gonna work for you, you can lift yourself up to kneeling and kind of do a side bend. Other option here is to keep your right hand down low and raise the left arm up slowly. And as you raise the arm up, lift your hips up and kind of side bend, stretch back. But you need a lot of access into your tailbone, lengthen your low back. You don't have to lift up high, and then lower it down. And switch. Left hand will support you behind the back as the right arm slowly starts to glide up. Your hips also will glide up. Think about reverse table. Lift up with a little side bend and then lower down. And we're going to do it one more time each way. So hand behind you, float up, lift up, and lower down. And final one, float up, lift up, and lower down. Bring your hands forward, come onto all fours into plank pose, top of a push-up position, and then pike back to downward dog. With bent knees in downward dog, lift your hips up, feel a lot of stretch here and length in your back body. One more deep breath in. And out. Walk your hands all the way back to the very back edge of your mat where your feet are. Let your upper body kind of hang low. Make sure it feels like a natural, easy opening through the back body. So in order to create that, you might need to bend your knees so it doesn't feel so much tension in your back, but you decide. Then place the backs of your hands to the floor so you can feel a stretch across the tops of the wrists. And if you want to, you can place your hands underneath your feet and get the stretch that way. Otherwise, just keep the hands against the mat, hands and feet apart. While pressing the backs of your hands down into the ground, or if you have blocks, you can push your hands into blocks instead. Lift the shoulders so the shoulder blades kind of ease away from your ears. Take a couple more rounds of breath. And then we'll move the hands down, and if you can comfortably sit on your mat, you can sit down and scoot yourself to the middle of the mat, and we'll take a moment on the back, crossing the right ankle over the left thigh. Let's move into a thread the needle. Lift the left foot up if you'd like to, hold on, and find that opening here through the right side. Keep pressing the right thigh forward and press the back body into the floor. And then we'll release and do the switch off to the other side. Cross the ankle, press the thigh forward, then decide you want to bring the thigh in, holding on. You can release the grip, but bring your legs into a tabletop position. And best you can, straighten your legs up towards the ceiling, reaching your legs up. Ankles stacked over your hips and toes reaching up towards the ceiling. Lengthen through your legs as much as you comfortably can. Lengthen and stretch. Reach the heels up towards the ceiling, so flexing here at your ankles, and then reach your toes up. Heels up, toes up, heels up, toes up. Okay, come back into the bend of your knees, tabletop position. Feel the backside of your body press into the ground. You can do one leg at a time or maybe both legs at the same time, just depending on how it feels. Inhale, stretch the legs towards forward. Exhale, pull back in. One leg at a time or both legs at the same time. So take whatever variation feels like it gives you that connection into your deep core and support. Of course, you want to challenge yourself, but you want to feel like you're doing this to kind of connect back in and feel good throughout the entire body. You don't have to make it as hard as you can, or you can if that's what you're looking for. Okay, as you continue, you're moving with your breath, keeping the back body heavy and down, maintaining this navel to spine engagement for 3 more times. Even if you're doing one on each side, you can do 3 sets, or both at the same time, you can do 3 or more. And then after you're complete, you can bring your knees in or up towards your shoulders so your legs separate apart quite a bit. And use your hands to press the back into the floor. Use your hands to hold your feet if you prefer the happy baby pose setup. All right, from here, you're gonna bring your legs back into your tabletop position, interlock your hands behind your back, lift your upper back off of the floor just as high as you comfortably can while engaging your core. So as you pull the navel down, maybe the upper back curves off the ground, lean your head back into your hands all the way. Head back, throat open, easy lift through your upper back and head. Now, keep the belly strong and engaged. Legs are in tabletop position, or feet can just rest on the floor if you prefer. So we'll do about 10 times, lowering the upper back to hover above the floor, or the head to hover, and then lift all the way back up. Lower and lift. Lower and lift. So you can feel how you're controlling the motion down, controlling the lift back up. A little bit more effort to lift back up, but you don't want to just pull yourself back up. You want to lift yourself up from feeling like you're deeply engaged. 3 more times. Curl up. 2, curl up. And on your final one, you're going to lift up, hold the lift up. You can stay like this. You can bring your legs back to tabletop. You can reach your arms forward, stretching out. Hold 10, 9, 8, 7. Maintain the curl. Hands can stay behind your head if you need more support. Last 4, 3, 2, and your final one. You're going to hold onto your legs and lower everything down. Okay, knees stay stuck together, legs stay stuck together. Use your left hand outside the right leg and slide the legs over. And maybe you kind of stack shoulders and hips to start. Raise the top arm up and reach the arm wide into your twist. Close your eyes if it helps you relax, and just take about 3 slow rounds of breath. As you exhale out, you can lift the knees back to center and switch over to the other side. Lower and stretch. Deep breath in and out. Couple more rounds of breath. And slide the left arm over towards the right. Slowly lift yourself on up. Crisscross position. You can sit up nice and tall. Take a moment and close your eyes. In your seated position, any comfortable position. works as well if you prefer to lie down. You can just keep your attention on your breath and your body. And take a break from everything else going on around you. Let your jaw soften and the skin of your face soften. You feel how you're sitting up, but you're not trying hard. Your hands are resting comfortably on your lap or on your thighs. And having your knees like about hip level or even lower helps the legs relax. You can think about that when you're taking seated positions, like if you need to be on a little bit of a lift. Breath should just be naturally moving in and out. You kind of notice that it's still a little bit long. Moving down the length of your spine and then back out. If you'd like, you can bring your palms together and let your head bow down. Take a moment to give thanks for all that you have. Have a wonderful night, everyone. Namaste. Let me know if you have any questions.